Hey, GU11 meteorologist Kim Castro here. One of the most popular questions I get is, Kim, what's this winter going to be like? Do you have a forecast? Well, I can't answer that question. There are global patterns that show signs of what may be more favorable. You might have heard us talk about El Niño during hurricane season, and it has implications during the winter. Now, with an El Niño, we see warmer water in the eastern Pacific rather than pushing towards Asia. And what this does is it sends the subtropical jet. You'll notice two big currents of wind here. This is the subtropical jet, this is the polar jet. It sends the subtropical jet further north into the southern half of the U.S., and it sends the polar jet further north too, keeping the cold air, the polar air, to the north of the U.S. as well. So winter pattern for an El Niño year signals a more wet southern half of the U.S. and a warmer, drier northern half. Now you'll notice the wet could bring in rain, and it could bring in the possibility of snow, of course, if it's cold enough. So historically speaking, NOAA has taken data for the last 30 years, from 1990 through 2020. And what they've found is that El Niño year does favor snow potential for the southern half of the U.S., but at higher elevations mostly. So the Sierra Nevada mountains, the Rockies, areas that are at higher elevation have colder air, and so they can support that type of wintry precip. Now, NOAA isn't just forecasting an average El Niño year, they're actually tending towards a trajectory of a strong El Niño year. And the difference, historically speaking, between the two is that the blue, the area of snow potential, becomes more pronounced, and it actually stretches a bit further towards the east. So now notice this blue swath getting into Oklahoma, parts of the Texas panhandle, maybe showing even a little sign of a little blue getting closer to central Texas. So this isn't a forecast, this is historical data, which lets us know that we should be on alert, just have a heads up, stay close to the forecast, because historically speaking, on average, the potential for snow and the potential for colder air, colder precip, increases. There are anomalous years, so not every year is the same. One year we could potentially see warmer conditions in the south, drier conditions in the south. But on average, when you take all those 30 years of data, this is the general pattern. Warmer and drier towards the north, cooler and wetter towards the south. What I can tell you is 6 to 10 days out, and it is supporting this El Niño trend where we have above average precip from now through the middle of the month and drier outlook to the north. In terms of temperatures, we're kind of in the middle, so not warmer than average, not cooler than average for southeast Texas, a little bit cooler for west Texas, but pretty average conditions. This is a better indicator, a better forecasting tool when we're trying to talk about specifics. All in all, El Niño does give us a heads up as to the potential for a wetter, maybe colder holiday season, but to get the logistics on that, you have to watch us and keep up with the forecast, preferably every day, but at least once a week.